Hello friends, welcome to my channel, Recap Stories. Today, we are discussing an important topic. Friends, we are taught from childhood never to accept anything from strangers or share personal information with them. But what happens if we ignore these rules? Today's story is based on a real incident involving a 16-year-old girl named Cara Robinson. She was an ordinary girl, just like you and me. Cara and her friend Jessie were preparing to spend the night together because their parents were not home. During this time, Cara thought of spending the night at their other friend Clara's house because Clara's house was quite spacious. For this, they needed permission from Cara's mother. Cara called her mother, Sarah, who was a working woman. Sarah had never denied her daughter anything because she trusted her completely. So, Sarah gave her permission. While Jessie went to the restroom, Cara stepped outside to water the flowers. She noticed a black car circling the house repeatedly. At first, she ignored it. But the next time she saw the car, a man stepped out and approached her. The man started a friendly conversation and asked if her friend's parents were home. Cara mistakenly told the truth and said they were not. Hearing this, the man suddenly pulled out a gun and threatened her. He demanded she get into the car quietly or he would shoot her. Cara, terrified, complied without resistance. She had no idea what was about to happen. After some time, the car stopped at a mall. Cara thought of escaping but couldn't gather the courage. The man tied her hands and feet and placed her in a tub, then drove to his house. Meanwhile, when Jessie came out of the restroom, she found Cara missing. The water was still running, which made Jessie feel uneasy. She immediately called Cara's mother and informed her of everything. Cara's friend Jessie quickly contacted the police and reported the entire situation. The police arrived at the house promptly, but they were skeptical of the story. They suspected Cara might have run away from home willingly or gone somewhere with a boyfriend. Sarah, Cara's mother, contacted Cara's boyfriend Ryan, who denied any involvement. Despite this, the police were reluctant to believe the story. On the other hand, Cara had now reached the man's house. He pulled her out of the tub and took her to the bedroom. Cara noticed strange devices in the room, which could potentially be used to harm her. The man took out a notebook and started asking her questions, such as her parents' names, home address, phone number, educational details, and even about her personal life. His questions and behavior indicated that he was mentally unstable and cruel. Cara, frightened, answered everything. The man threatened her, demanding that she follow his every command and refer to him as Mr., or else he would kill her. Cara, terrified, complied. The man treated Cara in a horrific manner, and the experience left deep scars on her heart and mind. Later, Cara noticed personal items like combs, creams, and other things in the room, which made her believe there was another girl in the house. After a while, the man took Cara out of the room and sat her on the couch. They watched some movies together. During this time, Cara began to think of how she could escape. She started to converse with the man to gather more information about him. He introduced himself as Johnny and claimed to own a store. When Cara inquired about his family, he became silent. Johnny told her that once he got bored, he would let her go. However, if Cara contacted the police, he would do something unspeakable to her mother. Cara realized that time was critical. She began observing the house carefully. She noticed a box in the kitchen that Johnny seemed to be very sensitive about. Cara believed that the box contained something important. Johnny then took Cara and made her sit in front of the TV to watch the news, to see if there was any mention of her disappearance. Unfortunately, there was no news about her. Johnny sarcastically told Cara, "Look, no one cares about you. No one is concerned about your disappearance." Hearing this, Cara was emotionally shattered because she had been missing for over 12 hours. Meanwhile, Cara's mother, Sarah, was desperately trying to convince the police that something terrible had happened to her daughter. She used all her resources, but no one was willing to believe her. Finally, an elderly police officer listened to Sarah and filed a report to begin the investigation. The night was about to get even more terrifying for Cara. Johnny allowed her to go to the bathroom, but only for a limited time. This was Cara's chance to escape, but perhaps the timing wasn't right. She wondered how she would get help in the darkness of the night, so she decided to wait for morning. However, when she stayed in the bathroom too long, Johnny became angry and locked her up again. He threatened her, saying that every move she made was being recorded and if she tried anything clever, he would leak everything. Cara, terrified, apologized, but Johnny punished her mercilessly and tied her hands and feet. After a day of mental and physical torment, Cara fell into a deep sleep. But when she woke up in the morning, she found Johnny was in a deep slumber. This was the perfect time for her to act. Cara skillfully unlocked the handcuffs and freed her feet. Now, the biggest obstacle was the large wooden block at the main gate. With all her strength, Cara removed the block and opened the gate, escaping outside. She ran towards the road and flagged down an approaching car, asking for help. The people inside the car agreed to assist her and took her to the police station. At the police station, Cara explained everything to the officers, and her mother, Sarah, was notified. The police immediately went to Johnny's house with Cara to arrest him, but by the time they arrived, Johnny had already fled. Cara provided the police with details about Johnny's house, such as the birds, the closed windows, and a black sedan. When the police showed Cara pictures of local people, she identified Johnny, whose real name was Richard, and learned that he lived with his wife. The police raided his house and found everything Cara had mentioned. Finally, the police opened the box that Richard was so sensitive about. Inside the box, they found evidence revealing that Cara was not the first girl he had tortured. When the police searched Richard's apartment, they found several mementos from girls of various ages who had been held captive. They also found the notebook in which Richard had written detailed accounts of not only Cara's ordeal but also those of two other girls. Unfortunately, these girls did not have a fate as fortunate as Cara's. Richard had kept them captive for several months, and when he grew tired of them, he murdered them and threw their bodies in the lake. This had been going on for the past 5 years. The police were in disbelief upon learning the truth. They had often thought these were just cases of rebellious young girls or runaways, but in reality, those girls had lost their lives. When the police gathered more information about Richard's background, they went to his mother's house, where they found the same black car and his wife, Janelia. Janelia kept insisting that her husband was a good man and couldn't have done any such thing, but her sister made a crucial revelation. She had spoken to Richard the previous night, and he had mentioned staying at a motel. The police immediately rushed to the motel, but by the time they arrived, Richard had already fled, possibly tipped off by someone. On the other hand, Cara was taken to the hospital to check if she had sustained any physical injuries. Fortunately, there was nothing, but what about the internal wounds? Cara kept thinking about how long it would take for those scars to heal. When she meets her mother, both of them hug each other tightly, crying. Meanwhile, a female police officer gathers more details from Cara, and surprisingly, Cara provides every piece of information in detail, even remembering her family doctor's number. Seeing this, Sarah is amazed at how wise and brave her daughter has become. She feels proud of Cara, knowing that her bravery led to her freedom. Cara's life slowly starts returning to normal, but sometimes the memories of the past haunt her. The police advise her to stay at home for a while to avoid any further danger. Since Richard is still at large, someone is always at Cara's house. The police patrol around the area constantly, which Cara doesn't appreciate because it keeps reminding her that she is a victim, but Cara doesn't think of herself that way. She sees herself as a brave girl who saved her own life through her courage. However, people tend to talk, and those words annoy Cara. One day, fed up with everything, Cara steps outside her house. A police officer who had initially said that Cara had run away approaches her. He still speaks in the same way, as if Cara is a victim. But this time, Cara responds, telling him that she doesn't need his sympathy. If he had done his job correctly from the start, none of this would have happened. These words reflected the confidence inside Cara, which made the officer fall silent. After that, Cara goes to watch a movie to normalize her life. She no longer wants to live in constant fear. Meanwhile, The police receive information that Richard is re-entering the city. Additional forces are quickly deployed, and finally, Richard is captured. However, fearing the trials and the possibility of spending time in jail, Richard takes his own life. Cara feels no joy in his easy death. She wanted the world to see him and learn from him, so no one else would make the same mistake. Afterward, the officer comes to sit with Cara and reassures her that everything is okay now. But in Cara's heart, the question remains, when will she be able to forget these bitter memories? She knew that these memories would resurface again and again, but she had decided to face them and promised her mother that she would live her life bravely. The story ends here, but this incident, which took place in 2002 in America, will always be remembered. Cara, a mere 15-year-old girl, was held captive for 17 hours by a 43-year-old man, tortured, and nearly killed, but her courage saved her. Later, Cara shared her story with the world, leaving everyone astonished. How did you find the story? Please let us know in the comments below. I request you to complete 10,000 subscribers on my channel soon. We hope you enjoyed this video, and please like it. Kindly subscribe to our channel. Thank you for your loving comments. See you in the next video.